song about the Wabash Cannonball is an American folk song about a fictional train, thought to have originated in the late 19th century. Its first documented appearance was on sheet music published in 1882, titled The Great Rock Island Route and credited to J. A. Roff. All subsequent versions contain a variation of the chorus. Now listen to the jingle, and the rumble, and the roar, as she dashes through the woodland, and speeds along the shore. See the mighty rushing engine, hear her merry bell ring out, as they speed along in safety, on the Great Rock Island route. A rewritten version by William Kint appeared in 1904 under the title Wabash Cannonball. The Carter family made one of the first recordings of the song in 1929, though it was not released until 1932. Another popular version was recorded by Roy Acuff in 1936. The Acuff version is one of the fewer than 40 all-time singles to have sold 10 million, or more, physical copies worldwide. It is a signature song of the Indiana State University Marching Sycamores and the Purdue All-American Marching Band, as the ESU and Purdue campuses are near the Wabash River. It is also associated with the Stephen F. Austin State University Lumberjack Marching Band, the Kansas State University Marching Band, the Texas Tech University Goin' Band from Raid Erland, and the University of Texas Longhorn Band. It was also used as the theme song by the USS Wabash, Hour 5. The song The Wabash Cannonball is part of the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame's 500 songs that shaped rock and roll list. It is the oldest song on the list. History. In addition to the Carter family's 1929 recording and Roy Acuff's 1936 recording, many hillbilly artists recorded the Wabash Cannonball during the Great Depression era of the 1930s and 1940s, and the song was also recorded by Piedmont blues legend Blind Willie McTell. Bing Crosby recorded the song for his album Bing Crosby Sings the Great Country Hits. The song increased in popularity during this time. Origins. There are many theories of the origin of the Wabash Cannonball. Utah Phillips states that hobos imagined a mythical train called the Wabash Cannonball, which was a death coach that appeared at the death of a hobo to carry his soul to its reward. The song was then created, with the lyrics and music telling the story of the train. Another theory states that the song is based on a tall tale in which Cal S. Bunyan, Paul Bunyan's brother, constructed a railroad known as the Ireland, Jerusalem, Australian and Southern Michigan Line. After 2 months of service, the 700-car train was traveling so fast that it arrived at its destination an hour before its departure. Finally, the train took off so fast that it rushed into outer space, and for all is known, it is still traveling through space. When the hobos learned of this train, they called her the Wabash Cannonball and said that every station in America had heard her whistle. Namesakes. In the wake of the song's popularity, the Wabash Railroad renamed its daytime express run between Detroit and St. Louis as the Wabash Cannonball in 1949, the only actual train to bear the name, which it carried until the creation of Amtrak in 1971, when it was discontinued. However, the train was named after the song, not the other way around. On October 26 and 27, 2013, Fort Wayne Railroad Historical Society's Nickel Plate Road 765, in conjunction with the Norfolk Southern Railway's 21st Century Steam Program, pulled a 225-mile round-trip excursion, retracing the Cannonball's former route between Fort Wayne and Lafayette, Indiana. A roller coaster at the now-defunct Opryland USA theme park was titled after the song as well. It was operated from 1975 to 1997. In 1998, after Opryland's closing, the double corkscrew coaster was relocated to Old Indiana Fun and Water Park, Thorntown, Indiana, USA. In 2003, it was moved into storage. The coaster specs: length 1,200 feet, height 70 feet, speed 50 miles per hour, with double corkscrew style inversions. Lyrics. The lyrics as performed by the Carter family in their 1929 recording. Verse. Out from the wide Pacific to the broad Atlantic shore. She climbs the flowery mountain, o'er hills, and by the shore. Although she's tall and handsome, and she's known quite well by all. She's the reg'lar combination o' the Wabash Cannonball. Verse. Oh, the eastern states are dandy, so the western people say. Chicago, Rock Island, St. Louis by the way. To the lakes of Minnesota where the rippling waters fall. No changes to be taken on the Wabash Cannonball. Chorus. Oh, listen to the jingle, the rumor, and the roar. As she glides along the woodland, o'er hills, and by the shore. She climbs the flowery mountain, hear the merry hobo's squall. She glides along the woodland, the Wabash Cannonball. Verse. Oh, here's ol' Daddy Cleaton, let his name forever be. And long be remembered in the courts of Tennessee. For he is a good old rounder till the curtain round him fall. He'll be carried back to victory on the Wabash Cannonball. Verse. I have rode the IC Limited, also the Royal Blue. Across the eastern countries on Elkhorn No. 2. I have rode those highball trains from coast to coast, that's all. But I have found no equal to the Wabash Cannonball. Chorus. Oh, listen to the jingle, the rumor, and the roar. As she glides along the woodland, o'er hills, and by the shore. She climbs the flowery mountain, hear the merry hobo's squall. She glides along the woodland, the Wabash Cannonball. Another verse. She came down from Birmingham on a cold December day. As she pulled into the station you could hear all the people say. There's a gal from Birmingham, she's long and she's tall. She came down from Birmingham on the Wabash Cannonball. Variations. Many variations of the lyrics exist, including a tribute to William Jennings Bryan. Here's to Jennings Bryan, may his name forever stand. And always be remembered in hearts throughout the land. His earthly race is over and the curtain round him falls. But they'll carry him home to victory on the Wabash Cannonball. Courts instead of hearts. Glory or Dixie instead of victory. Lonesome instead of merry hobos. Daddy Claxton, Danny Claxton, Daddy Clayton, or Boston Blackie instead of Daddy Cleaton. When his earthly days are over and the curtains round him fall in the next to last line of the song. While or we're instead of your, in the final line of the chorus. Rumble instead of rumor in the chorus. Riding through the jungles, i.e., hobo encampments, instead of glides along the woodland. There are several known versions of the second and final lines of the first stanza. Some believe that she's the Bose accommodation called the Wabash Cannonball was most likely the original final line of the first stanza, even though it is probably the least popular today. One common variation calls her a streamlined combination. There are alternative versions in which the second and third stanzas are changed significantly, including the 1966 recording by Johnny Cash. Many other live and recorded versions occur in the 20th century. Hank Snow, d. 1999, a star on RCA Victor for 47 years, recorded a totally different version with the line as they ride the rods and brake beams on the Wabash Cannonball as the final line of the chorus, amongst many changes made by the longtime Canadian singer. Hank Thompson, Roger Miller, Boxcar Willie, and Willie Nelson also did their own versions. In 1968, Jerry Reed included it on his LP album Nashville Underground. Various bluegrass versions were recorded by Ernest Tubb, and Lester Flatt and Earl Scruggs. Female artists with versions include Wanda Jackson, 1966, and Bonnie Owens, 1967, see their record catalogs. Early other version more similar to the Great Rock Island route are recorded by Blind Willie McTell, which lead this traditional song in another direction, if you listen to his version. Instrumental versions can be found by Chet Atkins, and also sheet music sold by many, including Rex Griffin, 1939, if you should look among the hundreds of covers done last century. Hank Williams is also supposed to have written a little-known song called The California Zephyr, now not often heard, to imitate and replace the song because it was reported he did not like it. There are some similarities among this, and many other train songs. Use in collegiate sports. The Wabash Cannonball, arranged by Joel Leach, is known as the unofficial second fight song of Kansas State University, having been played since the late 1960s. It was the only piece of sheet music rescued from the KSU music department in the Nichols Hall fire of 1968, and grew in popularity with students and fans. The Kansas State University Marching Band says that the Wabash Cannonball has come to represent the survival of the underdog in the hearts and minds of all true K-State fans, and has earned a secure place in the K-Sum's history and traditions. Currently Kansas State is the prime contributing player of the song and most noted with Big 12 fans and spectators. Fans rock back and forth to the song while it's played. The University of Texas Longhorn Band plays the song at the beginning of every fourth quarter during football season. The tradition began when Texas was in the Southwest Conference and Kansas State University was in the Big 8 Conference. Texas band director Vincent R. Donino once asked football coach Darrell K. Royal if he had any songs he would like to hear the Longhorn Band play. His response was that they didn't play enough country music and that he would like to hear Wabash Cannonball. Band rivalry has developed since both schools joined the Big 12 Conference. At Stephen F. Austin State University, the Twirl-O Jacks traditionally perform to the tune as played by the Lumberjack Marching Band at the beginning of each football game. The band has also been known to play excerpts from the song during various sporting events. Jukebox Cannonball. In 1951, Jesse Rogers adapted Wabash Cannonball into Jukebox Cannonball by retaining the original melody but replacing it with a new set of lyrics. Many recordings of this song were made in the early 1950s, primarily by artists from the New York-Pennsylvania region, including Rogers himself, Ray Whitley, and Rex Zerio. Bill Haley and the Sad Lemon, later known as the Comets, also had a minor hit with the song in 1952, which was considered an early example of rockabilly. Haley re-recorded the song in 1979. Big Wheel Cannonball. A version recorded by truckin' music/country star Dick Curless is an ode to truckers. The first verse is, "This proud and mighty nation will sing forevermore of pioneers, brave engineers, and heroes by the score, but the world of transportation has its own breed just as great. They're the men of steel behind the wheel of the big rigs hauling freight." Other recordings. Tennessee Ernie Ford. In the third season, 1952-53, of I Love Lucy, Ernie Ford sang a rendition of the song in the episodes Tennessee Ernie Visits and Tennessee Ernie Hangs On. The Moody Brothers. The Wabash Cannonball is among several classic train songs featured in the Moody Brothers' Grammy-nominated instrumental The Great Train Song Medley. Lonnie Donegan. Lonnie Donegan recorded a version of the song for his 1956 album, Lonnie Donegan Showcase. Bing Crosby. Bing Crosby included the song in his album Bing Crosby Sings the Great Country Hits, 1965. Robert Fripp and the League of Crafty Guitarists. An arrangement of Wabash Cannonball was recorded by Robert Fripp and the League of Crafty Guitarists on their album Intergalactic Boogie Express, live in Europe. Woody Guthrie. The Dust Bowl Balladeers' Grand Coulee Dam, one of several songs he wrote about the largest concrete structure in the United States, is a rework of the Wabash Cannonball. Chorus. In the misty crystal glitter of her wild and windward spray. Men have fought the pounding waters and dared a watery grave. Oh, she broke their boats to splinters, but she gave them dreams to dream. Of the day the Cooley Dam would tame that wild and wasted stream. She is the Columbia River. The song is really an ode to the river as much as the dam, rather like the way some popular versions of the Wabash Cannonball seem to be as much about that tall glamorous girl from Tennessee, as about the train. Guthrie also composed another song, Farmer Labor Train, with the same melody. On August 29, 1942, he performed the Farmer Labor Train on the AFL-CIO-sponsored 15-minute weekly radio show Labor for Victory on NBC Radio. In 1948, he transformed the Wabash Cannonball again into the Wallace-Taylor Train for the 1948 Progressive National Convention, which nominated former U.S. Vice President Henry A. Wallace for president. Alistair Cook noted some verses. Lumberjacks and teamsters, and sailors from the sea, and there's fighting boys from Texas and the hills of Tennessee, there's miners from Kentucky and there's fishermen from Maine, all a-ridin' with us on this Wallace-Taylor train. Chuck Berry. Chuck Berry's 1964 song Promised Land is based on the melody of Wabash Cannonball. Dizzy Dean. Dizzy Dean, who had been a talented, colorful pitcher for the St. Louis Cardinals and other teams, and had been inducted into the Baseball Hall of Fame, often sang verses of the song while broadcasting the Major League Baseball game of the week in the 1950s and early 1960s. Doc Watson. The legendary bluegrass guitarist Doc Watson and his son Merle included a rhapsodic version of the Wabash Cannonball on the live album Doc Watson on Stage in 1982, reissued on CD in 1990. Chuck Mead. Chuck Mead covered this song on his 2012 album, Back at the Quonset Hut.
Please subscribe and thanks for watching.